Hey everyone, it is Thursday in October, and so what that means is that it is time for another no spend update for this. So this will be for week 2. If you haven't ever seen any of these before that I've done, I will link my videos below so you can kind of keep going in chronological order. But what I just do is talk about how the no spend really affects our everyday living, how we manage it, and how we're just feeling about it, especially for the week. So let me get started with the very first thing. This is a good thing, and it seems like it always involves food. But right here, my husband travels a lot. Right now, he's in Mexico City. And in one of his previous trips last week, one of the hotels that he stayed in had, you know how hotels have free things or something that you grab for snacks in the lobby? Well, this particular hotel had apples, and they were giving out caramel dip with the apples, which is so awesome. We've traveled a lot, and I've never seen anything like that before. So that was number one, that's super cool. Number two, it was free. And number three, my husband thought of me and brought one home so I could try. So that was my fun thing for the week. And since I handle all of my details in the planner, let me go ahead and show you that. So this is my family planner, which is where I am keeping the majority of our no spend details. So here is the year at a glance, which is where I track things. So here's how it's looking. We are actually on day 15, but I don't put my sticker on usually until the end of the day. And this week has gone pretty well. That first week, I had a rough time. We had a really rough start. So emotionally, I was just frustrated. This week, I've been totally fine as far as, not wanting to spend. There are some things, I will be honest, that I have found and put on my wish list. So if I was not in a no spend, I would probably be buying those things in the very near future, aka this month. But that will not be happening because the second weekend, I've mentioned the second weekend is usually my really rough time where that's really where I'm tempted. That second weekend passed with no problems. I think it was because it was early. It was just, the 10th day really. So I think, again, to be honest, I think this weekend, which is technically because we have 3 weekends now in my no spend, I think this one is going to be a little bit harder for me than the second weekend, just because I have found some things that I've want to buy, and just because we're at the halfway mark as well. That's where it's like, okay, this is getting a little bit old, not being able to just jump in the car and go spend some money whenever I want to. And I will get to more of that in just a moment. But we're doing fine. There haven't been any near misses like there was that first week. And so there we go. At the halfway mark, we're doing okay. But I like when we hit the halfway mark because then it's all downhill from there. So those are just kind of the emotions that we're feeling. Let me turn to my menu, which is right here. So it's the same thing. I'm still circling the days as they have passed and checking off the meals that we've made, circling the ones that we really, really loved and want to add to our repertoire of recipes. And this week has been a little bit weird with the food. I have not kept to anything as far as my original plan. Absolutely nothing. I did realize in looking over my menu that I planned a meal for every single day to make. I forgot to plan any shake the fridge meals as well as leftover magic meals, which ended up being really good because I'm coming off a few days of not feeling well with my health issues. And so that's just what we did. We just pulled stuff out of the freezer that I'd put in there that were leftovers and did great. My husband's in Mexico City, so that's just what we did, and it's been working out fine. As far as our fridge is concerned, yes, it's getting a little bit more bare. We have 1 egg left, no butter, and just a few fruits and vegetables, of course, which you would naturally expect. But we're doing great as far as the food is concerned. I don't feel deprived at all. We have plenty of food, so don't worry about that. I'm not worried about it at all. So the food is going fine. And then let's go ahead and churn. You've seen this before. I'm checking things off with my stickers that I showed you last week. And nothing too exciting, just a couple bills that we've paid, and then here we are. I didn't put in the orange is dinner and then the pink is breakfast. I didn't put these in because we just shook the fridge, and I had written everything out, which I should not have done, but I wrote everything out, the 31 days of our meals on these orange ones. So I'm getting quite a collection, which you will see right here, of meals that were planned that I did not end up making. And so we're just going to have a lot of meals then that we'll be able to transfer over to November. But anyway, that's kind of what it's looking like as far as that is concerned. Again, here's my list of things I need to use up, which there's quite a bit that I will need to use up, and I'm working on that. And let's look at my schedule, how that's affected us. I wanted to focus mainly today on the social aspect of a no spend. Let me first talk about our money. I did reschedule my haircut. I did forget to tell you that we bought Aladdin, which is right here. We bought Aladdin on September 30th, and I forgot to mention that in my final preparation video. But what happened is Aladdin came out of the vault, and my family are huge, huge Disney fans. So September 30th, I reminded my husband to be sure and look at the movies to make sure if he wanted to buy or rent anything before October started. That was not even a discussion. He just automatically bought Aladdin. So we watched that on the 2nd. And for bills, we just had Verizon, Netflix, our mortgage, and our electric bill. So we did get paid. This is our first payday, the 9th of our first actual pay day of October. And unfortunately, we will not be able to save any money. This is the check where we pay the majority of all of our bills, so we're not going to have any leftover money to transfer. My money, my personal money, my allowance, I had one thing that came out that was a medical thing for my health, and then I transferred all the other over. I did have my dentist appointment, but I didn't have to pay any money for that. And then I had a family member that needed to go to the hospital on Monday. So what happened is normally when something like that happens, it was planned, but what I normally do is take that person out after the hospital, because I don't care what you do at the hospital. It's never fun. It's never pleasant. And so I normally take them out and get them a milkshake or some food if they're hungry or something like that. But because it was a no spend, I kind of planned, I brought snacks for everyone involved with that and lunch, and then I made them dinner as well. So that's how that whole situation was. So it wasn't like a medical emergency. If it was, I would have definitely done whatever that person needed, but this wasn't an emergency, and I was able to just use stuff that we had at home, and then I was also able to make them a treat, which is why we only have one egg left and no butter, because I ended up making cupcakes and frosting, so that's where that went. But totally fine. I would definitely have done that again. So we're doing great as far as that is concerned. Some other social things I wanted to talk about. My husband, okay, so the first week was when I was kind of grumpy and emotional. This second week, my husband is the one. He has had a really rough week for various reasons, many different reasons, and he's very stressed. It really is not related to our no spend, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because normally when you or I or anybody has a bunch of stress like that, what's the first thing we do? We think of, I am going to fill in the blank. I'm going to go get comfort food or a treat, or I'm going to do entertainment, go to a movie or something, anything to kind of relieve our stress. And I'm not saying you should never do that, but I think it's just been kind of interesting that that is at least our first reaction in our house, is to just, okay, whatever you want or need to make you feel better, let's go do that. And what I found because we're in a no spend, my husband has been frustrated because he has not been able to do that. Now, that's not saying he's been tempted necessarily to go spend, because he's very committed to this no spend, but he just has expressed a little frustration that in a normal month, that's what he or we would have done to help each other feel better. So how I've just helped him is to just things I think you should do in that should be our first reaction, is just to talk to him, give him a shoulder massage, just those kinds of things. I actually made him a treat. Just that kind of thing is how we've handled those big stressors. And also back to the money. I had originally said that, I'm not my husband's mother. I'm not. I'm his wife. He's not a child. And so I did not ask him or tell him to move his money, his personal saving or his checking account, his personal money to savings. I didn't ask him what he was going to do with it. He's a big boy, but he did say this past week that he did move his money to savings because he saw what I had done with our family account and my personal checking account. So he actually moved his over because of the example. So if you're struggling with a spouse, just lead by example. I had said if he had moved it over, fine. If he doesn't, fine. Really, the point is he's on board with me for not spending. So now I wanted to talk more about the social as well. I have mentioned many times that my husband has to do a lot of travel. That's not really a social thing necessarily, except for the fact that when you're traveling, you do have to do social dinners and lunches and things like that. So for our no spend month, his work travel does not count against our personal and family no spend, because the man has to eat. You can't starve yourself for 3 or 4 days or however long you're gone. So how that works is he has a work credit card that he uses for expenses. And so that's how he spends while we're doing a no spend. So it's just not coming out of our personal money. He does have a work allotment, a work allowance for that kind of a thing. As far as if you're not out of town with working, last year I was working in an office setting when we were doing our no spend. It was a little bit difficult. I would say I had to decline lunches at least 2 or 3 times. And, just understand nobody's going to get it. Your friends and kind associates will understand and not pressure you. Other people will not be so kind, and that's fine. But just, stick to your guns. I stuck to mine. Like I said, I think I had to say no 3 times for lunches. And it was I had brought my lunch. It was lonely. And it's hard to see other people because you need to have good relationships at work and things like that. But it's just for 1 month. So I was able to be okay with that for saying no. With my husband's work, when he is in town, a lot of times work will pay for lunch. So if somebody brings you in a spread or a buffet type of thing, absolutely, you're not paying for that. So of course you're going to partake of that and be fine with it. So it's really just that, just keep that in mind of, do I have to pay for this or do I not have to pay for this? It's really how you handle those kinds of situations. Same thing with friends. We have some friends where one night we will pay for them, whatever it is, dinner, movie, whatever. And then the next time we go out, they will pay. And so we do have a good relationship, and we do switch off, and we can trust them that way. If you have friends where you're not quite sure, I wouldn't get into that kind of situation with people. Also there are some friends where, they'll say, hey, we'll pay for your movie, or they'll pay for dinner. But when you get there, it's more like, we'll pay for dinner, but you have to pay for the tip. So it's kind of just, I guess, just think about each situation and the people. I know that sounds a little harsh, but when you're in a no spend month, you got to just really think those things through. Like, is this person really going to pay for me? And of course you're going to, pay for that later. You don't expect anybody to pay for things for free. You are going to reciprocate for the next month. But just like I said, we all have friends that we can really have good relationships and we trust and have that kind of relationship with, and some other, I would call them more associates. You're just not sure about that. So, but yeah, definitely with any social situations, if they're going to pay for it and and trust it, same thing with family members. If they say we're going to take you out to dinner and they're going to pay for everything, then absolutely in a no spend month, go and enjoy yourself. For date nights, I was going to show you the first Friday, because we've got 5 weekends now, we have 5 date nights in a no spend month. So the first one, we just watched Aladdin. I've told you we were coming off just a couple of grumpy days, so we just wanted to stay home and watch our movie. The next one we had family come over and we just had a nice time. This one I haven't written it in, but we are having some friends come over. And then this one we are planning, and of course, since I'm the woman and my husband's super busy, I do honestly plan most of our date nights. So this one we are going to go see something. It's about, I think, about 40 minutes away from where we live, and it's an outdoor structure that we've been wanting to go to for quite a while, and we've just never done it. So we're going to do that. That's just a free thing, and we'll just take a snack with us. And then we've got a Halloween party on the 30th right here. So those are our social situations and our date nights for the week. We are very involved with our church. We just came off of a potluck that we had right here. And when I went grocery shopping that last day in September 30th, when my husband went with me, that ended up being a really good thing because he reminded me we had an assignment. We were supposed to bring 5 pounds of taco meat for this night. I think I would have remembered when I got to the store, but he had reminded me, so that was a good thing. There are a couple of other things coming up for our church that we might have to go buy some things for, but because we're on a committee, there's a budget for it, and so it's not our money. So it's yes, we would have to go to the store and spend money, but it's not our money, so it doesn't count against our personal family no spend situation. Then the other thing is family. Our kids, which I will show you right here, we have a really fantastic pumpkin patch in our area. I mean, we're talking like I think it's like $25 or $30 just to get in the door. It's not one of those rinky-dink $5 or $10 things. It's right here. My kids went with friends on September 30th, so of course we were not invited to that one, but they wanted to go with us in October, and so we had to tell them that we couldn't go. And unfortunately, with the pumpkin patch, it's seasonal, so they were really. I don't want to say they were upset, but they were quite disappointed about that. They really wanted to go with us. It's super duper fun. But we did, we pinky swore that we would go next year. And don't feel too sorry for my kids because right here in November, we've got a mini family vacation that we're going on at Thanksgiving time. So, they'll be fine. They just wanted to really go with us, but that's just how we've handled all of our different social situations. Because, in a no-spend month, you don't want to be a complete hermit, but yet you have to, I guess, be on your guard and kind of just protect yourself to make sure that there are not going to be situations that you will put yourself in if there is a chance that you will either be tempted to spend money or will have to spend money. If your friends, for instance, if they're paying for the movie, but not necessarily the snacks, are you going to be able to go to a movie and not buy any snacks? You just kind of have to think through a situation both with your friends and with yourself. So anyway, that's how our second week has gone. So a lot better than the first week emotionally, just a few little hiccups that we've been able to handle, but overall really good. I haven't shown you my personal planner, which I'm going to do right here quickly at the very end. And just show you the majority of it is in my family planner that I just showed you. But here was last week. I still did those stickers like I did last year with the green, and then I put it on the day that we're on, and then I don't know why. It's just really satisfying for me to do a little check mark. So I check off as the day is done and we haven't spent any money. So here is last week, and then here is this week. So here we are on Thursday the 15th, so I have my circle sticker on there, but I have not checked it off yet. So that's how it is in my personal planner. And then the other thing is I wanted to kind of just more of the entertainment, social kind of thing. I did read a book this week. It was this one right here, Killing Reagan. I really love this series. They do a lot of research, which I love that kind of genre. And I do want to read this entire series. So far I've read Killing Lincoln, and then now I've read Killing Reagan this past week. So I plan on reading at least one of these every single month, but I did read this book and it was really good. Love the series. So anyway, hope this has been helpful. I will see you again next week for my next update for my no spend. Thanks for watching.